Well, I mean, I started off like most kids, you know, with a goldfish in a goldfish bowl, and as I always enjoyed that, and you know, probably I guess we got around 9 years old, and I got my first aquarium, and you know, did the regular routine of swords and platies and stuff, and in the mid 70s, I started seeing African cichlids coming into the stores, and the rest is really history. After African cichlids, including multi-tank syndrome and everything else, like everything everybody else has got these days. And you know, at that point, my fish room was expanding, and so were the species of fish, and I was producing quite a few fish for one of the local pet shops, and he was buying everything, and you know, I was looking for something different, and you know, here we are since the mid 70s, and now we're at 2014. It's a bit more extreme now coming to Malawi. So
so it's, for my viewers, can you let them know how many years you've been coming here now?
I've been coming here since 1999.
Wow.
So, and this is my 14th trip this year.
14 years.
Yeah.
So obviously most of my viewers from America or around the world, they know who you are.
Yes.
So can you just be a bit more specific what they might know you for? If they don't, they can go look for pictures wise, you know, that type of stuff. Where would they go?
Oh, well, I mean, you can find my website. It's at MalawiCichlidsImports.ca.
Okay.
And that's where you can find me on the website. You can also find me on Facebook and a few forums as well.
Yeah.
Mostly Facebook now. There's a lot of the forums have gone by the wayside. There's not much action there, but with Facebook, you know, anybody can get on and say anything, and there's not much responsibility on Facebook. You know, it's always better to stick with a forum where you can go back and you use that as a reference, or pictures, or you know, you've seen different things, and oh, what was that about? And you know, you can get back and then you can look that up again if you followed along. There's a lot of good information there, but I mean, the best information is getting your own good books, good quality books.
Yeah, I always tell my viewers to do more research, and when you think you know it, keep carrying on.
Well, I've been doing the cichlids from this lake since 1975, and I still don't know it all. Of course, part of that is somehow the fish don't look exactly or won't hold still like they do in a picture in a book.
Right. Right.
So sometimes it's a little bit hard to describe them in the water. Certainly, I do pretty good with what I know, and I can reference the book pretty easy if I see something and I don't know what it is. I know, at least I know what
you know where to go.
Where at least what genera, you know, and certainly when you're diving, you see a lot of beautiful fish, and you're taking pictures, but you can't get everything on one dive. You can't. It's pretty hard to get all the fish, unless there's only a very few species.
Yeah, that's something I definitely experienced. My first couple of dives, I would like to keep diving that place over and over again.
Well, you know, sometimes I don't get back to, like, Nkhomo Reef. I haven't been there since 2001. You know, and it's changed. The fish have changed a little bit. There was a lot of marmalade cat zebras there. Actually, it was infested with them, and I go back this year and I didn't see any.
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't in the exact spot where they were, because certainly I didn't recognize any of the spots that I was in. But maybe, you know, we spent another 2 or 3 dives there, would have run across the spot where they were at. But obviously we found them there in 2001 at a reef that is on the boys' GPS, the captain's GPS. So I don't know if they've been collecting there, or some of the other crews that come to Malawi specific to collect have gone there. I know there's one group in particular that like to come over here and just collect. So that's a pretty hot item in Europe and in the UK. I see all the marmalades. So
yeah, the boys back home in the UK, they love them.
They love the OBs and the marmalades. Yes.
So what keeps you coming back year after year?
Well, first of all, being from Canada, the water's pretty cold up there. And getting a little bit older, I like the warmer water of Malawi. No more 43 degree Fahrenheit water for me. The knees are getting too old for that, and that's getting way on the boat, and you know, swimming with the cichlids that you know and love. You that's why I come back every
Yeah.
year. And of course, this year had a really great group of guys to be with, so that makes all the difference. Sometimes it's there's only maybe 3 or 4 guys come out with us in the group, so including myself, there's maybe 4 or 5 of us this year. We had 8 to start off with. We ended up having 7 finally make it, and that makes for a more interesting group.
And everyone on the group was never been here. We were new.
Yeah, this year, at least in other years, I've always had 1 or 2 guys return, and that makes it a little easier. They know what they expect, and they ask a few less questions or whatever.
But we know now. That's the thing. We've
well,
experienced it, so we still might take us a few more goes to get it perfectly right. But there was a few locations that you'd never died before that we've died. Do you want to tell them?
Well, and there's still more that I would like to dive at. It's just it's wind and waves.
Yeah.
If it's inaccessible because of the wind, then you just don't get there. I mean, it was and the lake is very large as well. So I mean, there's lots of places to go, lots of sights to see. And this year we did Kuanga that I've never dove at. Lots of gold zebras and other nice fish there as well. Great diving location. I mean, it was a little bit turbid because the wind was blowing that way this year. But certainly, it didn't affect the picture quality that much. And what was the other place? Oh, Mara Rocks. Mara Rocks. I've been by Mara Rocks 3 or 4 times, and we couldn't dive there because of the wind.
It was.
And even this year, even though the water
quite tricky.
Yeah, the water clarity was fantastic there. There was a lot of current up near the top. It's just it was
Nowhere near Nadumbai though.
Yeah, it was a good spot to get dropped off there, because I was wondering about the current, and then when I dropped into the water and got all my my extra weights in my dive camera and went down, you could get in behind that large crescent of rocks there, which created a nice calm spot, and there was lots of fish to see there. Yeah.
So obviously you've been here for 14 years now.
Yeah.
There's still plans to try and keep coming as long as you can.
Oh, sure. It was working out that Ad Konings was doing a trip one year, and then on the off years I was doing a trip, and then the one year he decided that while he was organizing that he'd go to the Amazon instead, so I did the trip 3 years in a row. So when he came out last year, it was nice to be just one of the guys on the boat instead of trying to organize everything and carry the money and get some deals along the way and see what we can do. So it's nice to be a follower as well, although his group is fairly well experienced, because there are other people that are like myself that they've been 3 or 4 times and they know what to do and know what to expect.
Yeah, they go in here, they get themselves ready, they don't need to ask anything.
Yeah,
they get in the water, they get out of the water.
With the guys this year, everybody was their first time except me, and I don't mind answering the questions. Hey, what's here? Hey, you can look for a few of these fish. Name all the popular ones off the top of my head. I remember a few more when I get in the water. I should have told them about this, or should have told them about that. But I mean, you experience it for yourself. I can't tell you everything.
Yeah, I think the main question we was asking is how deep, what depth are we expecting here? Should we keep it away from this side? It looks a bit,
Well, yeah, there's a little bit. You get out to Nkhomo Island this year, and certainly the side that we dove on is a lot shallower. It does trail off after a distance and get quite deep if you're getting that far away from the island on a single dive. But certainly on the other side of Nkhomo, within probably 25 or 30 feet of shore, you can be down to 110 feet quite easily. Yeah.
So which they'll see definitely on the video. Hopefully, I'll be portrayed
and Kathy, she wanted to see Kuingi, so I see that's where they are over there. So she was quite happy that we found them. Yeah.
Also, as well, with everyone that I speak to that's never been before, they don't understand the planning that goes into something like this. A lot of people just think you get on a boat, you go to this little island, then you go to another island. Maybe you could just sort of, not the planning side of it, but just explain to them everything's weather. People don't think there's rough weather out here, and I filmed it, and we experienced it. And sometimes we couldn't leave anywhere.
Well, you know, everything's dependent on wind and waves, and you know, when I say that, it sounds, you can say that pretty quick, but the wind on this lake will cause, you know, up to 15-foot waves. And certainly when you're out there and you have to come back, because the next group is, you know, coming and they got to resort the boat out and get it fueled up and do everything else and refill the tanks at the end of the trip, and you have to get back. And you know, there's times I've spent 22 hours coming back from Nkhomo Bay and some very nasty weather. So yeah, that does happen. It does affect the diving, and it did affect our diving this year. But I know enough locations where we can get on the backside of Nkhomo Island or Chisumulu and
get away from it.
And get away from it. Yeah.
And they turned out to be perfect locations. You know. So the itinerary that you set in place it could change. It could change like that, but like you said, because you know these locations,
well, everything that we
still make it.
Everything that we planned to do this year, we didn't do at all. But other things that we hadn't planned on, we did. So,
and some of those dives were amazing. So,
well, it's nice. It's nice when you can stay at Lions Cove for 3 days.
On the boat. That was
staying
memorable.
Staying on the boat instead of gathering your gear and walking up the beach and setting up camp and then tearing it down in the morning and getting it back on the boat. Yeah, that can be the start of a not good day. And it is a challenge getting on the other thing is in the morning the wind blows up and there's a challenge getting into the little Aries tender boat to get back to the Lady Louise II.
It's a challenge in itself.
Yeah,
back on.
Yeah. You know, you're carrying your camera gear or things that don't like the water. Yeah. And it can be pretty nasty some days. So you know, we try to avoid that. Yeah. That's why we walked to Nkhomo Bay the one day, which is
it was a nice walk, but it's mainly all uphill. You know, we got there. We got there in the end.
I don't know. In Nkhomo Bay, it seems to be uphill both ways.
Yeah, that's definitely a memory. Now, I get a lot of people saying, you know, I wish I could go, it's a dream of mine, I'm jealous, that such and such, but people don't understand that it's very affordable if you plan ahead. Yeah. It's not out of anyone's reach.
Well, things that are expensive is your dive gear. Yeah. And that's something you want to do before you even think about going to Malawi's. Get certified for diving, get your dive gear. That's a major expense that needs to be get at. You can't include that in the trip because that's just included in a whole lifetime of trips. Yeah. Once you're certified and you have your own equipment, and you know you have to maintain it and look after it. The other thing is getting immunized, the proper immunizations. That's in some cases is another major expense.
Some countries do it different, don't they? But
You have to check with your travel doctor to see what's required for the country that you're going into. And other things, you know, even like luggage, we always recommend bringing in, you know, a Pelican 1610 box, and you can see why.
Yes.
You know, you're on the boat, you want to go up top, you can only lay in the sun so long, maybe you want to sit down, there's no lawn chairs. I mean, that box makes an excellent chair. Yeah. You know, if you have to drag things up on shore, it's watertight, your sleeping equipment doesn't get wet for the night. And again, you don't need a lawn chair because now you got something to sit on. So there's a lot of little things that, you know, that are multi-purpose that are great, you know. Maybe next year you'll get one.
Yes. It stayed dry though.
Yeah, it did stay dry, but there are times when, you know, coming off the beach in waves, you know, you don't have to worry about if the boat tips, the little tender boat tips over. I mean, we can all swim. We're only in maybe waist or neck deep water, but if you got dive gear in a backpack or camera gear in a backpack, you know, too bad.
Yeah, and that's what mainly we were taking, just taking enough clothes for the morning, wherever we were staying, leave the heavy stuff on top of the boat. Yeah. Save the guys some work.
Well, you know, when we have power, we need to take our laptops in to download all our
it's a shuffle,
video.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a
shuffle. On the boat, it's another shuffle. That was the most confusing thing for a lot of people, I think, working out what type of adapters we needed on the boat, and you get to see we were overloading it a few times, and you just have to do it, make sure, you know, I think, doing it in stages.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand that. I think about 95% of all the electronics these days work on North American 110 volts and 220, so it doesn't matter. All you need is the proper plug adapter.
Yeah.
And here in Malawi, it is a British configuration, the same as in the UK.
Yeah, it's just...
And certainly if you get an extension or a power bar, as you call it in North America, you can buy one that you can plug several different things into. Or what I did is I had one of the boys from the UK bring me an extension from there, and I just plugged in 4 plug adapters to it, so I can use my North American plugs, and everything's worked out well.
Okay.
And there, I have a lot of extra stuff that I don't have to take back and forth since I come every year.
Of course, you
I
leave
can
it
leave
here,
it.
don't
I
you?
leave it stored here in Malawi, and that's worked out well for me. A power inverter, which is a small unit that gives us 110 volts on the boat. It runs off the boat and it steps up to 12 volts to 110, so we can charge our batteries and camera gear and stuff like that. That all stays here because it's just too heavy with all your dive equipment and your clothes and everything else that you're bringing back. You guys are. It was a lot easier back in the day when we could carry 66 pounds, and we had 2 items coming from North America. Now they've lowered us to 50. And I've even gone less than that. I can pack everything I need into one box and come. So packing can be a bit tricky. You can't overload.
Yeah. Also, as well, obviously, I will be doing a video as well for Cool Runnings. How long have you been staying with Sam at Cool Runnings now? You go in there again, aren't you?
I met Sam here in 2001, and we've been good friends ever since. I've actually been on the Cool Runnings property before it was Cool Runnings. She took me over and she showed me. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a great little spot. So when it was up and running, since the time change is about 6 hours for me, I tend to come to Malawi, 4 or 5 days ahead of time, so I get over that hump of the 6 hour time difference. Yeah. I can rest and relax. It takes me a while because I have to go through all my boxes and resort things out, get my dive gear into my nylon dive bag, and I have to get my camera set up and ready to go, and the battery's charged for that, so that it gives me that extra time to do all that.
And you do feel relaxed there as well.
Yes.
But you'll go in today. You're going back there.
Yeah.
For another 8? Is it 8? Another week?
Yeah, another week. Yes. Yeah. Well, you have your plane ticket to come over here, and it really doesn't cost that much extra to stay for that 4 or 5 days before, or that week afterwards. So I always take advantage of that.
I'm so glad we did as well. I mean, most of the people, it was an experience in itself, because you don't get that type of treatment and knowledge from Sam that you would with a package type holiday. I really enjoyed it. So, like I was saying before about you coming back year after year, you're trying to as much as possible, as long as you can. Now, you also do a lot of talks in Canada and America. You've got one coming up, haven't you?
Yeah, I go down and meet up with my friend down in Akron, Ohio, Don Gray, and he's got me speaking at Neofish on October the 17th this year, and I'll be putting that program together over the next week. So it's not like I'll be doing nothing while I'm at Cool Runnings.
Yeah, you will.
I have a lot of work to get done. I'll be speaking at my hometown club probably when I get back, and I think that's the second week of October as well. So I'll have a couple that I can do really quick.
Yeah. Anyone watching, so I'll get this up obviously beforehand. So go. I'll put all the details in the description. I'll also put a link to Larry's website as well, so you can see pictures from years gone by and how things have changed as well. So I really appreciate you taking the time.
It was awesome.
To
It was
great.
It was great. Yeah, this is great, and it was great having you out this year.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for.
And I think that this group was the first time, but it was amazing that you guys, we get in the water and you come out with a lot of good questions. And what was this? What was that fish? And some of the fish don't have names yet, but you guys are going to order up some fish to the UK, and some of the fish that I've seen along the trip, I'll probably order in as well for my business. And yeah, it's great coming over and look at the fish. But you guys really did a good job on identifying the fish, more so than a lot of others in other years.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Kathy in the 4th edition, I don't know. But it's amazing how much, just by one little island to 5 kilometers away, how much they change. It's unbelievable.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the difference between Nkhomo and Chisholmulu you know, we're in the boat for about 45 minutes, so you know, probably a good distance between the islands, but like it's totally different. Totally different.
Yeah, because Lady Louise too is doing 10 kilometres an hour now.
Yes, and we're about an hour getting over the island, but we have to come around Nkhomo as well.
Go all the way around
from the other side. So, yeah, you know, we're about 45 minutes getting there. So, you know, it's a good 10 or 15 kilometres away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice little warm-up drive, have coffee in the morning on the boat. That's always enjoyable.
Thank you for showing me how to do the lizard thing on the roof. I was a bit burned
the lizard thing is after you dive, and you know, we're here in September. It's a little bit early on in the season, and the water's still fairly cool. It's around 24 Celsius.
We say cool, but it's 24.
Yeah, but you think that's warm, but when you're in the water and you're not in the sun because you're down at depth, 24 C for an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and a half, you cool your body down quite a bit. Some of us are coming up shaking because it's chilly, and it's nice to peel off that wetsuit and get up right up on the top of the boat and do the lizard thing, get warm in the sun. So, of course, some of us can take more sun than others.
Yes.
So,
being from Britain, I was pretty white, but I don't know.
yeah, you got a good tan
a
now.
little bit maybe, not
yeah.
as much. Yeah, thanks for coming on to the channel. I'm sure my viewers will appreciate you spending some time with me.
Awesome. And I know, and for some viewers there in Canada, they can contact me there as well. And
yeah,
I know even on the African Cichlid Hub forum, there's a few Canadians there that I've spoken to at a couple of different pet shops in and around the Mississauga, Toronto area. And yes, it's always enjoyable.
Yeah, so stay tuned for more videos. Make sure the links to Larry's website and his talk coming up on October 17th.
Yes.
All right, I'll put all the details in there as well. So thanks for watching.